Well, here we go. So, trying out something new to give you guys a video that I haven't given you in a while. Disclaimer, my cat's in the background. My glasses are glaring and my hair is frizzle-frazzled. So, this video is going to be interesting. As you can tell, I'm not in my car this time. I have a lovely background here with some already fall decorations courtesy of the wife, and my cat is now trying to climb on my back. So, this is my cat, and he's very lovey. So, come on. You want to be part of the video too, bud? No? Okay. Oh, yeah, there he goes. What's going on, guys? It's a conservative Christian here. I'm just trying something different. So, and then one more thing I gotta tell you guys, my phone broke. I have another one. It's a smaller iPhone than I used to have, and it's in a different case, so it doesn't have the thing that I had on the back of my other case that allowed me to stick it to my metal ball via magnetism. So I'm having to resort to making my videos now here in the comfort of my own home, for now at least, until I get a new phone later when I get more money, which I don't have right now. So you guys probably don't care about any of that right now. Today I'm here to talk about something that was requested a while back ago, and technically I had the video, but I lost it because of my phone, so here I am now. So let's just go ahead and get into this video. So I want to try and keep this as short as possible, as this is old news, and I don't really have much to say about it anyways. So basically the topic was the Civil Rights Council, the U.S.'s decision to pull out of that, and I think that that was important for everyone, and we'll get into that. So, you know, when I first looked this up, since it was requested, I looked up, you know, two different sides of the equation. I didn't do a lot of digging, as I actually came across a video that was very important, like almost right off the bat. I first ran into a more right-wing source of news, and then I came across a more left-wing source of news, and then I actually just ended up finding the video where the lady who was the who was the spokesperson, and she had a position in the Human Rights Council. I found a video where she basically just explained everything in like a 17-minute long video. So honestly, if you want to basically figure out the reason why we decided to do that, it's not a long video, it's 17 minutes long. She basically explains it. There's only one thing that I haven't fact-checked that obviously anyone can fact-check, and you know, yes, I'm kind of not doing enough research on this, because this person said on live TV at the time, anyways, when it was recorded, that the reasons why she pulled out, as made evident by a statement that they had apparently made a year prior. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to start with the left-wing source, because you know I want to give the other side of the story. So they basically said that they obviously thought, you know, that the decision was bad. That we, how can we say that we stand up for rights? And now we're pulling out of helping other countries establish, kind of the same rights that we have and all that stuff. And then, of course, they the biggest argument was that, we needed more time. We needed more time in the council to, make changes. And you know what? Maybe that's true. I'm going to actually give that some credit, but I'm also going to kind of somewhat debunk the benefit of the doubt, or speak against it, I guess, even though that statement might be true. So of course, I'm just going to basically go off the talking points that this lady said in that video. But basically, from what I remember from the video, she had said that a year prior to this decision being made, whenever they went in to join the council, they said that there are things that need to change. They need to see progress and stuff like that in these certain areas. I don't know what the specifics were, but they basically set a standard. They apparently had said, a year prior, that if we don't reach these goals within a year, then we're going to leave. So it's not like this just came out of the blue. It's not that, America doesn't care, and all these things. We gave them warning. We gave them a heads up. We told them what we expected. I honestly think we have the most room to talk in this situation and hold, basically we have the most, I can't think of the word right now, but we basically are the superpower we were at least in that council, because like I said, we're the only country in the entire world with the most human rights. I know that everyone has their own opinions and all that stuff, but I don't think that there's a lot of evidence to support the debunking of the statement that America is the greatest country in the world. I'm not talking about specific individual statistics. Okay, sure, China has, better stuff when it comes to math or something like that. But I'm saying as a whole, our country is the best. If anything, it's because we have the most human rights. One of them being and I've said this before in past videos, one being that let's assume that, even though it's not true, let's assume that every other country in the entire world does have the same rights that America does. Well, they still don't have one specific one, which actually is becoming a point of contention now for a lot of different countries, and that is the concept of freedom of speech. We are the only country in the entire world that has a constitutionally protected freedom of speech. We are now seeing in other countries, other nations' citizens being fined or jailed for saying things that others deem offensive. The government is being used as a club on the citizens in other countries for to target people who are saying hateful things. And I'm not talking about death threats. I'm not talking about people yelling fire in a crowded theater or something like that. I'm talking about people who have different opinions, people who say things that others might find offensive, people who will not speak and basically be told that they have to say something or agree with something that other people say. And this is the scary part with all of this, is that the scary part with all of this is that this is actually partially coming to America. Right now, Chicago, you're not allowed to own a gun. I know that doesn't have to do with freedom of speech, but I'm talking about our rights as citizens. They are under attack. That's a thing. And then in New York, if you misgender someone, whether intentionally or accidentally, you are basically at the mercy of that person. So in that sense, our freedom of speech right now is the worst that it's ever been, as far as I know. I don't think at any other point in history, post the Constitution, have we seen anything within the United States where people are actually now being targeted for mildly offending people with their words. And it doesn't even matter if it's mildly offending. Offending, just in general. People are being now targeted. People are being told what they must say. And if you don't say these specific words, if you don't think that a man is a woman or a woman is a man, and you refuse to call someone by something that they prefer to be called, you can now be fined or jailed if you live in New York. California is another problem child now. They're trying to use the government to crack down on certain things. I'm getting a little bit off topic, but I'm making the point that we are right now the world's greatest country, and even then, we're sort of starting to collapse right now. It's very slow, it's very gradual, but it is happening. And so the reason why that matters is because whenever you go into a council involving a lot of superpowers across the world, we are in a position to make demands. We are in a position, given our experience and our past, we are in a position to say, hey, these are things that you probably should do or shouldn't do, and we know best because we live in that right now. We've already established that. None of you guys have done this yet. We have. And so, let's see, where was I going? So, it's kind of a poising thing too. Like if you're also the world's greatest superpower and you set a limit, a standard, and you don't honor it, it really just makes other countries think that they can walk on you more, that they can take advantage of you. And here's the thing, okay? Maybe we just needed more time, but from what I understand and from what I've read, these council, the majority of the members of these council were very biased towards the people who weren't following the rules and people who were just basically screaming that they were the victim the loudest. Not literally, obviously, but it's the people who just said, oh, we're trying this, that, and the other. People who weren't obeying the rules, who weren't following the rules. These people were given the benefit of the doubt. And it's like, are you serious, man? Like, you're part of this thing, and you say you're going to follow these rules, but you're not. And so, I mean, honestly, actually, I'm glad I didn't find the other video because I just thought of this. There's a fly here, but in that context, we really have to stand our ground, because if these are other countries who are intentionally not following these rules to make it seem like they care, what makes us think that they're not going to try and take advantage of us too, that they're not going to try and walk on us? They're already walking over all of these other countries when it comes to these things. These other countries are again, they're giving the benefit of the doubt. They're siding with these people who aren't following the rules. So if we stay and we've already told them what we expect out of them, not only that, but now all this other stuff is going on, why shouldn't we stay? Here's the thing, like, maybe, here's the thing, the other argument, I'm trying to give that one as much of the benefit of the doubt. Here's the thing, I think it's possible that America would have had more grounds or more reason to stay and give them that extra time that the more left-wing news claims that we needed if we were actually moving forward. But I don't see that was actually a thing that was going on. Time and time again, no one was being held accountable for their actions when it came to people breaking the rules and all that stuff. And so it was very clear 1 year later that this Human Rights Council isn't taking their own position seriously. They're not doing what they're supposedly there for. And this is the society that I think, this is honestly where the world is moving. People who scream the loudest, who say that they're a victim, those are the people that are taken the most seriously. Nobody looks at facts, no one looks at evidence, no one looks at statistics. We just say this person is screaming the loudest, therefore they must be correct. And funnily enough, I still remember this years later. There's a fly buzzing around. I still remember this years later, but my dad told me this one time when I got into kind of, I guess you could say, an altercation with one of the kids at the playground. And I remember, going to my dad and, like talking to him, and I was yelling at this other kid. And I honestly can't remember if I was in the right or the wrong. I don't remember, but I want to say I was. But my dad told me, the person who usually screams the loudest is the one who's wrong. And I don't think that could be more true, because whenever you don't have any kind of way to articulate what you're saying or any facts or evidence, and if you're being sneaky, if you don't have anything to support your argument, basically, then you just basically cry like a baby, because we all know that no one wants a baby to cry. So if a baby starts crying, you're going to do whatever you can to appease it, whether in this case the baby is right or wrong. And that's what is going on right now. Freaking fly, dude, piss off. And you see that happening all across the world. Even like I said, and it's leaking into the United States. Starting right now, it's starting in New York. And probably more recent news now. I haven't read up the full story, and I'll probably end up talking about this. But then there's the whole thing with the Christian Baker thing again. Now, that place is actively being targeted by transgender people and homosexuals now, because these people hate them for being Christian. So, and you know, all across the UK, people are being jailed. The UK is actually the most prime example of the most instances currently that I can think of that people are actually being jailed or arrested for saying offensive things. And so this is concerning. And given all that, I fully support and agree right now with all the facts and evidence and context that I have to say 100% that this was a decision that we had to make. It's very clear that the council is not actually interested in standing up for human rights, and they're only interested in basically just siding with the crybabies who say that you know, who claim the most victimhood. And there was one more thing that I was going to say about that too. Here, what was it? I'll see if I can remember what it was, but I'll just keep going. Oh yeah, that's right. And here's the funny thing too, right? Like these people who are on the left, and you know, if you're liberal / Democrat, you know, I you know, hashtag not all Democrats liberals. I get it. My boss is extremely liberal. But we disagree on almost everything. But we can actually have conversations about controversial topics, and I think that that's awesome. She knows where I come from. I know where she comes from. I understand her arguments. She understands mine. We just kind of disagree on how to go about it. I'm talking about when I kind of have Ben Shapiro's, I guess, definition whenever you talk about the left. The left, in my case, being that, you know, it's basically people who are on the more democratic side of the aisle when it comes to like major core beliefs, but they're like the extremists. You know, you've got for example, you've got the moderate Islamists, the ones who live here in the United States who just want to live in peace, and then you have the radical Islamists, the people who want to cut your head off for not believing in their religion. That's the same kind of way that I describe it. So if you're Democrat and you're watching this, and you know you just disagree with me or whatever the case may be, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the left. I'm talking about the people who want American society to crumble. They want to fundamentally change what we have right now, which is the best thing that has ever happened in any country in the entire world in the entirety of history. I'm talking about those people. But these same people who are on the left, especially like on the news outlets like I was watching, who say that we just needed more time, that, you know, Donald Trump made a bad decision. These are the same people who say that we have no business being involved in other countries in the first place. It's completely hypocritical, it's a double standard, and it pisses me off because it's like you don't really care about this. I don't believe that you really, I should say, I don't believe that you really care about this topic. It's just that you don't like Trump, so you're going to find a reason to backslide and turn on what you've said in the past, and you're gonna. And it's all because you don't want to support Trump. You don't want to give Trump the benefit of the doubt whenever he makes a good decision. I think that's exactly what it is. Because, like I said, these people before, they would have, you know, if it was, you know, and who's to say, you know, like, that they wouldn't, you know, now if Trump goes tomorrow and says, like, hey, I think we need to put some troops in, you know, in a Muslim country or something like that, they're going to be the same ones saying, oh, Trump doesn't have any business, we as Americans don't have any business sticking our nose into the affairs of other countries. We don't have any business being there. Well, that's not what you said, you know, about 2 months ago when Trump decided to pull, or not Trump, but that's not what you said 2 months ago when Republicans decided to pull out of the Human Rights Council because of all of the stuff that was going on. Back then, you were saying that we should have stayed, that we should have, you know, that we needed more time and this, that, and the other. So it's just this constant. Here's the thing. This is exactly what this kind of thing reminds me of. At the time when all this was going on, I came across this little comic strip that it had an old man and a younger woman riding on a donkey, and then on the bottom left-hand corner of each frame of the comic, there were these two, I guess you could call them skeptics. And so in the first part of the comic, the two guys are pointing at him and saying, like, wow, how inconsiderate of you guys, you know, to be putting such a burden on the donkey by both of you being on it. And so because, you know, the woman is younger, she decides to get off, And so then in the next square, the guys are like, wow, are you serious? You know, like, how dare you, a man, you know, force, you know, make a woman walk? You know, how gentlemanly of you. And so the woman, not wanting to get back on because she thinks that they're going to say something, the man gets off and she just decides to walk with the man instead. And then then the guy's like, you know, like, wow, don't you guys know how to use a donkey? So it's this thing of, you know, when it comes to the left, this is them. They will never look for any opportunity or reason to give credit where credit is due. And not only that, they take it a step further and they try to dictate behavior towards other people. You know, it's maybe, I don't know if they realize it or not, but that's exactly what they're doing. Nothing's ever good enough for them. They always have to find something to complain about, and they just want to control other people's lives. They want to control your life. They want to tell you how to live your life, and if you don't do what they say, then they're going to basically shame you for living your life the way you want to live your life. That is the only thing that really comes to my mind when it comes to this whole topic, because, you know, I guarantee you that if former President Obama had decided to pull out, then they would have been saying like, yeah, it was probably for the better. Not, nah, maybe we needed more time. So look, I get it. Everyone is biased. I'm biased. You're biased. We're all biased. And you know, the good thing about being biased to some degree is that you understand a concept from your side better than the other side does. But again, like I've said before, you know, two sides of the story. Most truth lies where the two lines intersect. It's like a graph. So, you know, you have 2 points, they both go in one direction, and wherever they meet is probably where the most truth is. There's nothing wrong with having a bias because it's inescapable. I hate it irritates me and when people say like, you know, like, oh, I have a true unbiased source of evidence. Like, are you sure about that? There is no such thing as an unbiased source. Every source is biased. The trick with bias is that you have to learn to recognize your own bias and recognize when you may or may not be wrong, given when it comes to facts. It's facts and evidence. Again, this ties in perfectly with this whole thing. Facts and evidence doesn't matter. Bias is the only thing that matters in this specific example. And so whenever you choose to ignore the facts and the bias, the facts and the evidence, then that is when you are basically at a point where you have let your bias take over your better judgment. And you know, look, sometimes you're going to be completely right about your bias, but it's very, very few and far in between. It's not worth saying that you're always right. I always use this example. It's the boy who cried wolf. Okay, in every instance, you know, you cry wolf, but you don't even suspect that there's something there. You're just saying it, and then once you say it so much, people on the other side who actually want to fight the wolf, who want the wolf to go away, that one time when the wolf is actually there, they're not going to be there because you have already lied to them over and over again. You haven't at least been able to say like, oh, I thought I saw something over there, but I guess I was wrong. But even in that situation, there's going to come a point when you're going to cry wolf and no one is going to show up. Okay, you have to be willing to recognize your bias and despite your own bias, look at the facts and the evidence. And look, if you at least do that and you still come to the same conclusion, cool. My issue lies more with people who just make a thought, and they haven't even looked into the situation for themselves. I actually just kind of fell victim to this the other day. You know, I admitted it. I posted something online that I found, I mean, luckily I didn't really pick any sides. I just kind of spoke for both sides, and then I just asked everyone what they thought. But then one of my friends came along and posted, and he's like, dude, you know, this is a satire post, right? And so he fact-checked it, and sure enough, it was satire. And I was, you know, I was like, wow, you know, I'm someone who claims to be a conservative, and I didn't even bother to look into this. I mean, it didn't particularly fit my bias, so to speak, but I guess you could say it did to some degree, but I didn't let the post itself dictate my ultimate decision because I kind of left it open-ended. I talked about it, and I just kind of gave both sides, and I asked other people what their opinions were. So I did fall for it in the sense that I didn't fact check it, and that I didn't see if it was even true or not. But at least I can still at least say that I didn't let my bias take over and completely go completely to the right and go with my bias. So, but I think I think that's about all I really have to say. Honestly, this lady, she covers everything. Everything, any question that you could have, she covers it. I mean, you might have to look up some things that she may or may not have said in the speech. Like, for example, if she says something along the lines of, like, we said a year ago that we were going to pull out if, we didn't make this progress, then, that's something you have to look for yourself. But the reason why I don't need to talk much more about this is because it's really all been said and done. She explains it all, and these are just kind of my thoughts about everything. So let's see here. I just want to make sure that I got everything that I was going to talk about too. It's late at night today. Yeah, I need to try and get back into this talking thing. I know that I've been out for a while, and I need to kind of get back into it. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the political world, but I've also got my own life too that I'm trying to live. I've got a wife, and we've got bills to pay, we've got things to do, and so this is one of the reasons why it was nice to do this before more, was because I could just do it whenever. If I had to run an errand, or most of the time, if not all the time, I was basically going to work every time I hit the record button. So it was nice because I don't really have anything else that I can do while I'm driving. So I'm just going to make a video. That way I can still do something with my YouTube channel in between going to the house and going to work. So we'll see how this works. I know I'm not going to be getting a new phone anytime soon. So there's no way that I'm going to be able to record from my car. But I wanted to get you guys something out just because I know it's been a little bit since I posted something. So thank you guys for your support on stuff. And I guess that's really all I got to say. So I guess until next time, this is the Conservative Christian signing out. I will see you guys in the next video.